The James Show Podcast.
Oh, man, if you're just joining us, it's going pretty good today. We were just having some fun with the latest comments from Jasmine Crockett, which sparked up the larger national conversation that's happened around the redistricting here in Texas. And there's going to be a lot of other states that follow suit if what we're trying to do here actually happens. And look, the last caller, I agreed with the first part of what he was saying, is that we're opening up a real can of worms if we just start willy-nilly redistricting in the middle of the decades just to reapportion seats. And if that's what we're going to do going forward, then why not just see states pretty much redo their districts every 2 years? I wouldn't be surprised if that starts happening. But the truth on why that isn't already happening already is because gerrymandering is already a thing. And if you get to reset it, the party in power gets to reset it after the census comes back. So, in the zeros or the ones of the decade, then there's no need to redistrict in the middle of the decade. You already got it gerrymandered to the hilt. And the one thing that makes this Texas situation so different is that the Latino vote went from, generally speaking, Team Blue to, generally speaking, Team Red. And so, hey, we got some gerrymandering to do. And there's no doubt it's gerrymandered. I'm not saying this is just straight up maps honestly drawn, but all 50 states have gerrymandered maps. 800-288-9227. How do you solve for that? I really don't know. This is Jay in Dallas. You're on WBAP.
Hey, James. Yeah,
hey, Jay.
It's me again. I really agree with the guy who you had on your show before, who was talking before me. It's between Trump should keep it down because, he's just inflating the whole thing. That shouldn't happen. I think the whole First Amendment thing, you guys, you Americans, you should get rid of the First Amendment. It's, I think, not really helpful at all. And, because you cannot sue Jasmine Crockett for it. That would totally be something that Trump should do, but he needs to keep it down. If he inflates it by cursing her out too, it's not going to be any help. So,
did you say we should get rid of the First Amendment?
Yes, I know you don't like that. I figured you would not like that at all.
Of course not.
I have to point that out.
No, go ahead. You're allowed to disagree with me. And the thing I do recognize is pretty much every country agrees with you, and us and a couple of microstates are the only places where we really have freedom of speech like we enjoy it here. And so I've always been interested in the other side of this argument. Please go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You don't know how it actually is if you don't have that right, where you can sue people for defamation and insults and stuff like that, especially the president in this case. But the First Amendment says that you're not allowed to inflict violence, defamation, obscenity, and that's all what Jasmine Crockett is doing. So I don't know why she's not getting stopped by her team saying, "Hey, you cannot say that. We're going to get sued. You're going to lose."
What would she get sued over? What is sue worthy in her comments? That he's a POS?
Yeah.
No, see, yeah. I don't think you should be able to get sued for calling someone a POS.
Well, I disagree with that. Absolutely. I think that's not, especially it's not someone, it is the president. It is the president.
No. President's just a someone. President shouldn't get treated like a superhuman being. He's just a regular dude who happens to hold a very important office. No, I disagree. And I feel sorry for the people who live in Canada and Belgium and France and England and Germany, where you can go to jail for social media posts now. That's freaky.
Well, I'm not talking about that. I mean,
what if she called him a POS in a social media post?
Well, that's a thin line there. But I think social media is something else than talking out to the public on a microphone, talk to thousands and thousands of people, especially if you're a political person like Crockett. So
why don't I understand the rest of the world? Because I see people like you, especially on Twitter and Reddit and these other places where there's a lot of foreign people who speak good English. Is it because I'm Anglo, sir? Is that my problem?
Oh, from from yesterday.
Yeah, from yesterday's show. Thank you for listening so much, Jay.
Yeah.
All right, well, you're going to have to work on me on that First Amendment stuff. I'm a big fan of freedom of speech, and I'd rather have too much than too little. So we'll have to agree to disagree, but I appreciate you calling in and making the case. You knew I was going to disagree with that, but you were brave and say it to my face anyway. So round of applause for Jay in Dallas. My next guest is the great Raven Harrison, who's going to have some very strong opinions on the Texas legislative session that has now had to be suspended until Friday. Raven, we've seen this before. Nothing's going to happen to these people, is it?
Look like it. I don't want to give people false hope, but good grief. I mean, they did this in 79. They did this in 2003. They did it in 2021 and brought COVID to the Capitol. You remember when they got on a plane with a case of beer and all of a sudden they had a COVID outbreak at the White House? I mean, it's absolutely unconscionable, but Burroughs has a questionable relationship with the Democrats. There's the talk that they...
I don't think it's questionable. I think clearly they're in a tight relationship. They're besties.
Because so he's going to talk tough. He's going to try to appease the base. And ultimately, it seems to be hot air. They should already be in handcuffs. They should already have had their seats vacated right now. They were elected to do the people's work, and they are in the most gerrymandered state in the entire country, Illinois, not doing their job when Gavin Newsom just announced that he was doing the same thing in California. They are hypocrites and cowards, and they were elected to come and represent their people, even when they're not in the winning majority, and it's despicable.
So what do you think is going to happen? Are we going to get the new redistricting? Are they going to be able to sit this one out and run out the clock? What do you think, Raven?
Well, if we look at it historically, James, every time they have done this, it has never, ever been successful. All it's done is delayed the inevitable. So they are causing delays, but ultimately, and now the ones who are fundraising for it have broken the law. That's a felony. It goes into the bribery rule if they accepted money. And a couple of them, I've been bookmarking the ones who are using Act Blue and all these others to secure funds for this stunt are in felony violation. So what I think it is just reminding the listeners, light up the phone lines. Don't give them any quarter. Push your legislators to do the right thing. We want these people in handcuffs or it's going to keep happening.
So, Raven Harrison, what do you think about the claim that if Texas is allowed to redistrict in the middle of the decade, then all the states are going to start doing it now?
Well, the states have been doing it. This has been going on since 1870. Now they're being outraged. It's funny when the Democrats do it, it's democracy. When Republicans do it, it's cheating. They have to figure out which side they're on. But the blue states, Illinois is the most gerrymandered state in the country. Then you've got California doing it. They're all doing it. This is how it works. This is how you play the strategy when your party is in charge. And they ran shot over us for the last 4 years. Now we have some say, and we are trying to shore it up for Republicans, which is exactly what they've been doing the past 4 years. They're just really sore losers.
All right, we're talking with Raven Harrison. Raven, let's talk about something else that's going on with the national news here. What I'm going to be talking about next is Robert F. Kennedy says he wants to say no candy, no soda pop on food stamps. And I'll be damned if some people just aren't fighting this tooth and nail. Shouldn't this be overwhelmingly popular?
It should be, but this is the culture we have invited in here. I mean, this is not supposed to be welfare and SNAP, and these things were supposed to be temporary measures to help Americans get back on their feet for a tough time. But we've got a lot of hiring signs and able-bodied people who are sitting home and cashing in. Some of the worst ones are receiving $3,000 to $6,000 a month. But then again, this ties into the obesity and the diabetes and everything else we have going on with this. So yeah, if you are receiving taxpayer money, you should not be able to buy things that are going to make you an even bigger burden on the system, which is excessive health care and things like that. If you want to get a job, buy what you want. If you're on your own 2 feet, you can fill your cabinets with as much garbage as you can handle. But if I've got to pay for it, then yeah, there should be some restrictions on what goes out. Because we know, I mean, I've yet to someone to tell me that they lost weight drinking soda or that they've grown hair by eating candy or things like that. So if somebody can provide some proof that there are health benefits to this garbage, then by all means. But until then, I think we should be a little bit more respectful with the American taxpayers' money.
Real quick, Raven Harrison, did you see that Jim Acosta interviewed an AI resurrection of one of the dead kids from the Parkland High School shooting?
That was disgusting. And yes, even though the parents approved this, they said it was to give them their son a voice. Their son is dead. They're using it as propaganda. Okay, because if there had been a good guy with a gun, their son would still be alive. So I disagree, but that's their right to do this. But I thought that was in very, very poor taste.
All right. How's your congressional aspirations coming along, Raven?
It's going great. We've just gotten Mike Lindell's endorsement, Kevin Sorbo. We're rocking.
Did you get a free pillow out of it? That'd be cool.
So we're getting it done. We told them, and there's still Texas tea in these veins. Tell everybody we're going to get it done. We're going to give them a government that they deserve to have.
Well, good luck with all that. I'm actually a big fan of the MyPillow. Slept on one last night. Thank you very much.
And just anybody who wants to donate, RavenHarrisonForCongress.com.
Tell me if this rubs you the wrong way. Jim Acosta, you may know him from CNN. He was the guy during the first Trump 1.0. He was always in the presidential daily brief or the daily press conferences, just giving hell to whoever the spokesman was. And he made a pretty big name for himself just by being a complete contrarian enemy, thorn in the side. Every question was from a bad angle. Every question was in bad faith. And it worked for him. We know his name now. There's a reason why these people act like such jerks. It works. One side loves them, the other side hates them, but everyone knows their name. Well, he didn't do such a good job keeping his job at CNN, so now he has his own little side project show, like a lot of people do, where they're just streaming their own video and doing their own show. And as a guest on his show, man, I just saw this morning. I'm still kind of shook that someone has the gall to do this. He interviewed a kid that died in the Parkland High School shooting, Marjorie Stone Douglas or whatever the high school was in Parkland. And boy, that is so weird. He's like, how do you interview a dead kid? It's AI. It's an AI recreation of the kid. And man, this rubs me the wrong way. Now, before you hear it, he did say that he got permission from the kid's parents. You know, he made this in advance, ran it by them, and they're okay with it. Okay. So what does he talk to this kid about? Gun control. So now what we're seeing here is a guy who is pretending to be a journalist, who is most certainly a political activist, exploiting the death of a minor child, resurrecting him in AI form as an emotional blackmail to make a point about taking away your Second Amendment rights. Pretty gross stuff, huh? I'll let you hear it for yourself. This was just a piece of Jim Acosta interviewing one of the dead kids that got killed in the Parkland school shooting.
Joaquin, I would like to know what your solution would be for gun violence.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea, Joaquin.
I think it's kind of gross pretending like dead kids are saying your political preference. I think that's ugly. Now, I have no negative comments or thoughts even for the parents. I couldn't imagine losing one of your kids, and they get all the grace in the world for whatever they want to do with it. If it gives them some sort of sense of importance or meaning behind a senseless death, you know, if it helps them even a small bit, whatever, that's cool. Jim Acosta, though, dude, you're sick. Are you a sociopath? Who is capable of doing such a thing? I would be hesitant to resurrect one of my own children for the purposes of my own show, even if it wasn't a political statement. When my kids were younger, I had them record some old things like, you're listening to the James Show, but it was their kids that are like, you listen to the James Show. And it's really cute. I don't even feel like using that now because that kid doesn't exist anymore. That kid that was 4 when I recorded that audio just turned, what did he turn this weekend? 12. Sorry, Atticus, took me a second. He just turned 12 over the weekend. And I feel like that's kind of weird. That'd be kind of weird using that. Well, I think this is just beyond the pale. Is this immoral, or am I just overly sensitive about this? Using a dead kid, resurrecting him through AI to make your preferred point about gun control, or just anything political, even if it was a campaign ad, or even if it said something I agreed with, even if it was anti-gun control, I'd be like, let's not do this. But here it is. It's getting thrown out there. Jim Acosta thinks it's fine. A lot of people who agree with the message there think it's fine. I would like to hope that even if I agreed with it, I would still turn that down, because that just seems wrong. So I'm going to ask you, let's throw this to you now, and you can just either say it back to the radio, or you can call in 800-288-9227. You can send me an email, james@wbap.com. But is it wrong? Does this rub you as, maybe not illegal, but immoral, unethical? I'm not sure what the word is, but this just rubs me the wrong way. Is it wrong to resurrect dead, especially children, but even dead adults, to make a political point in the current day? And if this is what you have to do for your preferred political policy to win the debate in the court of public opinion, doesn't that mean there's something wrong with the merits of your argument?
Joaquin, I would like to know what your solution would be for gun violence.
Exactly what you want, Jim.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea, Joaquin.
Yeah. So what if Joaquin said, well, we need to stop making schools gun-free zones, allow teachers who are comfortable to arm themselves, and just say things you agree with? I would still think that's creepy. You've got to be a sociopath to not think that's creepy, right? Or am I going overboard on this one? Because I'm not accused of being overly sensitive on most topics. This is Shauna in Keller. You're on WBAP.
Thanks for taking my call. The first thought I had was this is morbid.
Morbid.
Absolutely morbid.
That's a good word for it. Thank you. Did you have something to add to that, or you just...
I thought you were going to say something else. Yeah, they have no value in life and life itself, and so they don't even stop to think about whether or not there is value to the people who've lost their children in that situation. So if it means that they would degrade anybody's value of life, those who have lost one, and to use that and go so low as to use AI for the sake of they can't win by winning. They have their fights.
They can't win based on the merits of their positions, right?
No, they can't. And so for them to use a life, if it's to, I'm trying to say this because that's how they feel about abortion. They have no value when it comes to life. It's like they go to the church of me, myself, and I. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in life. They don't value life unless they feel that it values their pocket and their selfishness. And everything that they vote for, everything that they go for, everything that they put their stake into is for themselves. It's not for their kids and for the future. That's why everything's going to hell in a basket that they put their stake into. And that's why they're losing their credentials. That's why they're losing the votes. And that's why everybody's leaving their party.
Well, Shauna, do you think half of the country that agrees with Jim Acosta also finds this off-putting? Or do you think people have like this overwhelming confirmation bias to where even when you do something as morbid as resurrecting a dead child with AI to parrot your talking points, do you think half the country sees this?
The people that follow him, I don't really think that they're even people that vote. I think that they are just like before when we had Twitter. Do you remember when Twitter had all those massive followings and stuff like that? And then after Musk bought it, all of a sudden they were finding out that those numbers were blown up. Look at the last president that we had, and he supposedly had this great massive following. Really? He never even did anything. How could you have votes and followers if there was nothing to vote for and nothing to follow? It was a fraud.
Did he ever get 1 second of negative coverage from the legacy media?
Good God, no. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? I mean, so these people that are supposedly following Acosta, who are they? Are they the ones sitting in their basements, sitting around peeing in a jar because their mother doesn't want them to go anywhere? I mean, do they even have an education? Do they even know what they believe in? I mean, come on.
I love it. Was that a reference to Aviator? Because that's the only movie I saw where someone regularly peed in a jar when Howard Hughes was doing it in Aviator. Is that where that came from? Because that's what I thought of first.
No, it was.
How many peeing in a jar references do you have? I'm just going to end the call with Shauna and Keller before it gets weird because she was doing so good. No, but that's the perfect word for it. And this is why I like callers, because why didn't I think of the word morbid? That was great. Thank you, Shauna. But also in this, I try and think, why this kid? Of all the people that have died, I mean, when was Parkland? Was that like 6 years ago? When was Parkland? Parkland school shooting. Because I think there's a lot of other people who have died that maybe we could resurrect them. Okay, Parkland High School shooting was 2018. Hey, who you gonna interview tomorrow? Jim Acosta? You gonna interview, I don't know, say maybe a Austin Metcalf? No, you didn't get him, huh? We didn't want to resurrect him and get his opinion on knife control? No? Did Jim Acosta, you have AI, the ability to resurrect anybody who is unjustly murdered or killed or even justly killed, anyone from the past. Did you resurrect any of the 6 DART cops that were murdered at the BLM rally in Dallas? Did you do that one? Oh, no, you didn't do that? Why not? Oh, it doesn't fit your narrative. So you're doing this weird, morbid stuff, obviously with the political bias, obviously with no humanity in your soul. Just exploiting the death of a minor child for political purposes, that didn't strike you as, I don't know, somehow abrasive or maybe just ethically questionable? What about Laken Riley? Are you going to resurrect her through AI and ask her, hey, what's it like being killed by an illegal immigrant who'd been arrested 4 different times? And no? Is that one coming up? That's probably on tomorrow's show. I shouldn't speak so quickly. I'm sure he's going to get right to that. And even if you want to take politics out of it, we've had, 100,000 people murdered since the Parkland school shooting? You're gonna jump over all of those to make this point. Because I don't forget that last week in Mesquite, there was a 15-year-old that killed a 16-year-old and a 16-year-old that killed a 15-year-old. And it was 2 separate incidents. You going to resurrect them? What about those minor children? Did their deaths not matter as much as this kid who died in the Parkland school shooting? Now, why is that? Oh, because you can't make a point about gun control. See why this is sick? Ken, Arlington, you're on WBAP.
Hey, if I had a chance to interview the parents, I would ask the parents this. If a good guy with a gun showed up before the shooting started, they would be praising guns. But since there was nobody there to stop the shooting and their kid got killed with a gun, they're all for this.
Well, we don't know. I have to assume that the parents were pre-existing lefties who already hated guns and hated gun control. And this only confirms their pre-existing bias against your Second Amendment rights. And doing this somehow confirms, validates, or gives some sort of meaning to an otherwise meaningless loss of life of their son. So I have absolutely no criticism for the parents here. They're going through hell. They lost a child. They're going to get all the grace in the world. Jim Acosta, however, is just a sick bastard for doing this.
Well, that's true. But the parents' ideology of, okay, I'm willing to go as far as ruining my child's memory through this gun control thing instead of just rest in peace. And that never should have happened. I agree that they should be mourning and all that other stuff. But you are promoting, if a guy with a gas can runs into a theater and asks for a match and somebody gives them the match, you're promoting and okaying the
facilitating. Yeah, I hear you. All right, look, I almost lost a kid a couple of years ago. He got really sick, had to spend a couple of weeks in Children's Hospital, kidney failure, all that. I'm not criticizing anybody who lost a kid, because me just getting close to losing a kid absolutely broke me. So Jim Acosta is going to be the only one that gets criticism for me on this. But I hear what you're saying. Hey, if you want to go see Brian Kilmeade, he's coming to town. He's going to be at the Winspear Opera House August 23rd. You can win a pair of tickets from us. Text the word Liberty to 800-288-9227. It's the same as the call-in number for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Brian Kilmeade's tour. It's called History, Liberty, and Laughs Tour. For more tickets and information, if you want to go ahead and buy your tickets, go to attpac.org, like the AT&T Performing Arts Center, attpac.org, or win some tickets from us. Text the word Liberty to 800-288-9227.
The James Show Podcast.